All right there.
and it's going,
And
or it's supposed to be going.
it should be going right now, I guess.
Yeah, there it goes.
All right there. It takes a while at times, man. It does. All right. Welcome to episode 46.
Six.
Was it 46? Yeah.
No,
40,
47, I think.
47. That's right. Duh. This is Arknolia and the Doctor, our music memory series here, which we've been trying to get a hold of YR and Keith, but currently they're not on. They're currently unavailable at the moment here. So for now, for right now, it's just Arknolia and myself here. So and Arknolia said a moment ago that he doesn't really have that much of a list, but we're looking at some individual artists from the 70s there. We have a few up here. I guess did we already covered Al Stewart, but there's a couple others there. I
Yeah,
believe we'll. hmm
yeah.
I know but I guess we'll. I don't know if we're going to do it tonight or on Monday or my next day off. We'll have to. You said something about doing a lot of the great prog rock artists of the
Yeah, I
70s
thought
there.
after we finish with the individual 70s people, then
hmm
we'll jump into Prague.
Okay, there.
Because Prague's going to take some time.
Yeah, it does because there's so many out there. There's so many to discuss. So many elements of the music, the albums, the album covers, everything out there.
Yeah. And it's going to be kind of in alphabetical order, but not really.
hmm
And as I looked, first one I see is ACDC, which I'll do a list for them. We'll do them later.
Oh yeah, there.
I got Angel.
All right, the band Angel, great
Right.
Shafria, who by the way, if you see him nowadays, he does not look like his old self. He looks
No.
like a regular businessman. He resides in Vegas and he does business along that regime there.
Yeah. One of their big songs was something called Tower.
hmm
And they had others, but that was the one I remember the most.
They also had an appearance in the movie Foxes with Jodie Foster and Scott Bale and Sherry Curley from The Runaways there, and that
Yeah.
was I guess in 1979 or 1980 if I remember. And also, you got to remember Jafria also had a band of his own, actually two bands of his own. The first was simply called Jafria. You remember the songs "Call to the Heart" from 1984, and a couple others from the movie Gotcha, which came out the following year with Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
I guess it was Never Too Late and Say It Ain't So from that soundtrack there. And pretty good songs there when you think about it there.
Yeah, and I
And of course,
believe that they were considered glam rock.
yeah, Shapiro. Well, there was everything was considered glam rock, back at that. Oh, the Angel, I think it was you're
Yeah.
referring to.
Yeah.
Because but then again, that was the style back then. Everything had to be more glamorous with the robes, with the bell-bottom pants, the open shirt kind of shirts there that everybody used to wear at that time. I remember one critic calling them "Kiss in White" when you think
Yeah,
about
because
it there.
if I remember right, they were always dressed in white.
Yes, and of course, Jafria would later, towards the later part of the '80s, would put together a new group called House of Lords, and I guess they did their cover version of "Can't Find My Way Home," if I was correct there.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a song that got covered a lot.
yeah, yeah. Even I know avant-garde group called the Swans even had their take on it from back in 1989. It's just as well.
Yeah. I think if I'm correct, that was an old Buddy Holly song.
Wow, really? I should probably look that up there.
It wouldn't hurt. Blind Faith did it.
Yes.
That's the most famous version I know of.
Find My Way. Song by Blind Faith. Let's see here. It was Eric Clapton and Steve Winwood did a couple times. Um, let's see here. Blah blah blah. It's a song written by Steve Winwood and were first released on the Only Blind Faith album from 1969.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that he wrote
Yeah,
it, but good song.
yeah, it is a good song. It was a note. The song was a featured Ginger Baker's highly percussion, in modal percussion, I think it was called, and uh, and judged the lyric, "And I'm wasted, and I can't find my way home." And it was said that will the lyric to be delightful. And it's been covered by many musicians. It's been covered by Bonnie Raitt. Eric Clapton tapped it. Yvonne Elliman, you remember sang the song "If I Can't Happy for You" for the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack.
Yeah.
He also tapped her to sing that song during his 76, 77 concert tours, giving her the stage while he took a break. Two notable versions was on the done by Alison Krauss, the bluegrass singer. Uh, Alana Davis did it for the Mod Squad film with Claire Davis, and Australian American singer Rachel Price did her version from her album Live from Here. And as I mentioned, the group Swans just as well.
Yeah.
hmm So there we
Well
go.
covered
There,
song.
yeah, Swans right here. It was also that's right, well respected song. Almost about somewhere. I shouldn't say this, but it's almost close to the song "Yesterday" by the Beatles. And when you think
It's
about
not
it, there,
that close, but it is.
not that close, yeah, but still kind of somewhat getting up there when you look at it.
I don't know if that's still the case, but at one time yesterday it was one of the most covered songs ever.
It was constantly covered. I mean, even you remember the group Boys to Men?
Yeah.
They even did their
Unfortunately.
cover version. Yeah, it's kind of they even did their version of it, I guess, on one of their albums.
Ooh. I'll have to never hear that. Oh, sorry.
Well, it was more a cappella when you think about it. There, it was kind of Boys to Men ballad style. It's kind of like in one of their earlier hit songs. There, I
Yeah.
guess it was a ballad. Well, I forgot it was a ballad. I used to hear that on the radio a lot of times. I forgot the name, but who cares?
Yeah. Next one I got on my list is Bebop Deluxe.
I've heard of that group a couple of times. They used to record for Harvest Records, the record label that Pink Floyd once recorded for prior to signing with Columbia CBS.
Yeah, and they, well, one song they had that kind of made it here was something called Fair Exchange, which it was off an album called Sunburst Finish, which has an unforgettable cover.
hmm
Look it up.
Yes. All right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think somebody from Bebop Deluxe were later. Let's see there. Bebop Deluxe. Deluxe, the band. I'm trying to. There was a member of this. It was a prog rock band from England, and let's see, the members, blah blah blah. It's looking up on here now. It's about time I started looking up to these groups I used to read about in Cream magazine, but never got a chance to hear the music there. The band's sound emerged as a mixture of glam rock and prog rock and straightforward rock and roll. Science
Yeah,
image,
I
science
wouldn't.
fiction imagery was common in the lyrics there.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them prog really, but
hmm
they're close.
Okay, I'm looking at the members. I forgot maybe Bill Nelson. I think Bill Nelson was the one I'm thinking of because you hear that name mentioned in Cream magazine out of Michigan many times there in the past.
Yeah. Have you found that album cover yet?
Which album cover? Bebop Deluxe,
Sunburst Finish.
Somber's Finish. Let me look that up there.
Sunburst.
Blah, Sunburst Finish here. Sunburst.
They may not show it, but
Yeah. Okay, there. Hmm. I know which. That's the album cover I've seen many times before. It's a naked girl inside of a glass jar,
Yeah,
someone up there, and she's holding up a burning electric guitar.
yeah. Frankly, I bought the album for that cover.
Yeah, a lot of you're not the only one who probably did that because a
But I
lot of
liked the
people have done
album.
that as well. It is, yeah. And it was shot by John Thornton. It was based on a concept by a man named Mike Dowd, Doud, and the model was Nikki Howarth, Dwek. I don't know how that's pronounced there.
I guess
Dweck,
Dweck. I don't know.
Nikki Howarth Dweck. Yeah. All right. So very interesting album cover there from this group.
Yeah, and like I said, they did some good stuff.
Yeah.
Next group I got on the list is Axe.
The band Axe.
Right, and I
Yes,
was that the
I
remnants of
remember.
the Alice Cooper band? No, that was a
I do
different one.
not know. Well, the Axe that I remember had a couple songs called. One of them was called "Heat in the Street," and that
Yeah,
was around the earlier years. Axe band, and that was a group. I remember there was a. I'm looking for right here. It was based out of Gainesville, Florida. I remember
yeah,
the song "Heat in the Street," the video and the song being played on both MTV and the old and radio there. They formed in 1979, disbanded in 2012. They're both known for their song "Rock and Roll Party in the Streets," "Now or Never," and I think you'll remember tonight, and the one I just mentioned,
right.
"Heat in the Street." Rock and roll party in the streets. I think I remember seeing that video. I remember there was this one shot of this one guy with a beard and bandana guzzling down a bottle of whiskey or Jack Daniels and just slamming it right down to the concrete. And and he used to be known as Babyface, according to this the
Hmm.
Wikipedia here there.
Okay, that's not the group that was the remnants of the Alice Cooper band.
Oh, I didn't know them. So I take it that members of the Alice Cooper band formed a new group under the same name, I guess.
No, not Axe. I think it was something else, but I can't recall what it was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Next one I got is a one-hit wonder, a group called Ace.
Oh, we know Paul Carrack, who used later joined Squeeze for that song "Tempted,"
Yeah, and
and
their big
later
one was How Long.
we know that song pretty much there. And for what I understand, the song is about their bass player being involved with another group, and the band members finding out like, hey, it's like feeling like they were cheated on.
Yeah,
And that song often gets played on the soft rock stations a lot of times, usually when they had the romantic shows and later on towards the evening.
yeah, good song.
It is a very good song there. And also keep in mind that Paul Carrack will later also have a solo record called I Need You. I think not really. It was a song called I Need You. That was a big hit on the MTV and on the radio at that time around 82, 83. And we also later joined Roger Waters' Bleeding Hearts band in the later years.
Oh, next one I got on my list you've already mentioned, but I thought I'd mention him
Mhm.
again. Al
Yep.
Stewart.
Oh, yeah,
The big one
definitely.
was Year of the Cat.
Time Passages,
Yeah, and he did
another
another
great
one
one.
had something to do with the border.
Oh, yeah, On the Border from the
Yeah, that's it.
same album, the Year of the Cat album. I had that. I bought that cassette mainly for the title cut. Very great arrangements on that song as well as production.
Yeah, and On the Border to me was a fabulous song.
It is because it kind of well, you got to give Stewart. I think I mentioned this before in a couple episodes back. We got to give him credit because he wasn't one of those artists who sang about love and relationships and stuff. He often wrote about situations, different periods in time and such, and he often wrote mostly about historic figures.
Yeah,
Uh,
which I, which to me shows a lot more range than people that go out to, all their songs are "I love you, I love you, I love you,"
yeah,
whatever. You know,
yeah,
one
like
or two of those,
all I got.
yeah, one or two of those are okay, but when you follow it up with about 10 others, it gets old.
Yeah, look at the band Chicago when they had when the song like "Hard for Me to Say I'm Sorry" and "You're the Inspiration" became huge hits. The record label starts pressuring to come up with more ballads and more ballads and more ballads. And the same thing they did with Eric Clapton after "Tears in Heaven" became a massive hit.
Right.
They were, because every single that would come out, whichever album he comes out next, would have to be a ballad. They had to repeat that process no matter what. If the first one's going to be a big hit, let's keep giving another one because they'll sure as hell buy that up, like they bought the first one.
Yeah, and record company executives have proven how stupid they are
Yeah,
because a lot of
exactly.
times the follow ups don't do near as well as the original.
Yeah, exactly. Point. Here's another case. You remember Quiet Riot's version of "Come On, Feel the Noise"
Yeah,
from 1983? How big that song became. It also helped the group who first composed that song, Slade.
Slade. Yeah.
Yes, they would get signed to a major label after how many years gone, and they would continue to release albums throughout the whole 1980s with CBS. Quiet Riot, however, was suggested to do another Slade cover for the second record, and this time they went with Mama We're All Crazy Now, which tanked
Yeah.
terribly. Tanked terribly. They even tried to arrange it the same way they did with the arrangement of Come On Feel the Noise. Didn't work.
No.
But you know how they whether like we said, a lot of these record companies, they're just dipshits in suits. They they try to tell artists, oh, let's go with this, let's go with that. They'll say, wait a minute. If you're telling us the band to be how to be successful like yourselves, how come you're not a successful musician?
Right.
Kevin Key from Skinny Puppy pointed that out back in 1985. Okay.
All right. Next one I got had one big hit and then
Hmm.
a minor hit. Albert
Yes.
Hammond.
Howard Hammond.
No,
I don't think I've
Albert.
heard of it.
Albert
Albert Hammond.
Hammond. Uh,
Albert
the minor
Hammond. I
hit
don't
was a
think I've
song
heard of
called
this guy.
Free Band Electrical Band. The hit
Mm,
was It Never Rains in Southern California. And please
mm.
don't tell me you haven't heard that song.
I remember hearing the title. It was the song titled by the group Tony Tony Tony.
Well, it must have been a cover then because
Let me
It Never Rains in Southern California. The thing I
Rains
liked
and
about that song is there's a line in there that has a double meaning
mm,
within the lines that is one of the cleverest uses of words I've ever heard, I think.
mhm.
He starts out saying, "Don't tell him how you found me, and don't tell him how you found me." Which,
Uh-huh.
when you think about it, the first part of it says, "Don't tell him what kind of method you used to find me." And then the second
Mhm.
part says, "And don't tell him what I was like when you found me."
Okay, there. I'm looking it up on here, and it's apparently it's the same title, but the words in Southern California are in parentheses.
Mm,
And I'm looking it up right now. That one right now. It was a 1990 song from Tony Tony Tony. Peaked at number one of the Billboard's Hot R&B charts in that year for 2 weeks. Number 34 on the top one Hot 100. And the video music was directed by Lisa Bonet from The Cosby Show.
Hmm.
Believe it or not, wow.
Oddly, I've
So
never
the
heard
so
that
the
song.
oh, no, oh, it was a big hit on the R&B stations a lot of times. If you turn on the current soft R&B stuff nowadays, where they play old time classics from Barry White, Pendergrass, old Michael Jackson, you'll
Right.
most likely sometime you may hear something from Tony. Some of their other songs as well as the one I just mentioned. You know, so so I kind of like it's the same. It's kind of the same title, but in this version here, the last four words are in parentheses.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same song or not.
No, I don't think so. No,
I
no, I should
doubt it.
probably check. No, I doubt it. My kind of doubt it myself here. Let's see here. Blah blah blah. I'm looking at the lyrics right now. I think it is a different version there because it's because the line as we go got on board the westbound
Yeah, it's the
747
same
didn't
song.
think. Yeah, by Tony, and Albert. Well, no, I'm reading the Albert Hammond lyrics here.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm looking at Let's see here. Blah blah blah. Son of a name goat. I hate when that happens. You hit the wrong button and blah blah. I hate it when you hit. Okay, it usually shows the lyrics. No, it's a different song because the Tony ones. It never rains in Southern California. I'll see you when they get there. I haven't seen your face in a year. So it's a
that
different
is
song.
different.
It is very different. Very different. It's just, the title, the same title often throws people off. But like I said, the last three letters of the last three words in the title are in parentheses.
Yeah.
So we got that straightened out there. Because I thought the exact same thing when you first mentioned it.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it would be different, but because the one Albert Hammond does is kind of a story about him, and it's a good listen.
Yeah, I was going to definitely got to check it out there. What's up to Bozy and Costanza in the chat as well as Chad?
Next one I got is a band called the Amazing Rhythm Aces.
I heard that the title name of that group a couple of times before in the past.
Well, their song was Third Rate Romance,
Mm.
Low Rent Rendezvous, Vu, uh, which was basically about shacking up
Oh yeah, hitting the hay with the woman you love there.
or someone you like at that moment.
All right, or a one night stand.
Right. Pretty decent song, actually. Next one I got is Andrew Gold.
This is the guy who did that song. Although what was that Friends song that he? It wasn't related to the show Friends, but I think
Thank
one
you
of
for
his
being
songs.
a friend.
Yeah, because I believe that song was covered for the by some female artists for the Golden Girls TV show, if
Yep,
I'm correct.
believe you're
Ah, I
correct
thought.
there.
All
And then they
right.
had another one called Lonely Boy.
I heard about that one just as well in the past.
Yeah, a couple of pretty decent songs.
All right.
Next artist I got, I think we talked about a little bit when we were covering folk. Arlo Guthrie.
Oh my gosh, this is the Arlo Guthrie, Alice's Restaurant. Alice's
Great
Restaurant.
song.
Great song to play on Thanksgiving Day. Every station around the southern East Michigan did it unanimously on Thanksgiving Day. A lot of times. A lot of
Yeah,
times.
and he also did City of New Orleans and
hmm
Coming into Los Angeles.
Yeah, I know. I remember that version. I believe that was featured in the Woodstock movie soundtrack.
Yep, yep, yep.
And of course, we know his father, Woody Guthrie, often recognized as the people's poet.
Yeah, yeah. Next one I got is the Atlanta Rhythm Section.
Hmm. I remember their version of the. I remember their song "Imaginary Lover." Their cover of "Spooky," the Classics Five song there.
Yeah, and well, they did others, but those two are the ones people probably remember.
Yep.
The Champagne Jam,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
decent group. Next one I got is B.W. Stevenson.
B.W. Stevenson. I don't think
He,
I've heard of him.
yeah, he only did like two, three albums and he died. I don't know
Wow.
how, but
I gotta look that one up. Definitely, that's something worth looking up there.
two of his
B.W. Stevenson.
two of his songs were later covered and became big hits. Of course, he had a pretty big hit with My Maria,
Mm-hmm.
but believe it was Brooks and Dunn covered the country version of it, and actually, it's pretty good.
Hmm. Well, it says here he was American country pop singer and musician, working on the genre now known as, let's see here, as a, as a thing called, it was a thing called progressive country.
That
BW,
sounds accurate.
BW, yeah, BW stood for buckwheat. He was born in Dallas, Texas, attended W.H. Adamson High School, and other musicians like Larry Croce, Michael Martin Murphy, and Ray Wild Hubbard. He performed a tape the intended pilot for Austin City Limits back in 1974. However, the recording quality was deemed way too poor to broadcast.
Oh
Willie
wow,
Nelson's performance, taped it the following night, was aired as the first episode of that series. There,
shame.
yeah,
He
he
had another.
died.
Go ahead.
He died at the age of 38. He had open valve surgery on his heart, and he developed later a staph infection. And since his death, Poor David's Pub in Dallas, where I guess this guy performed, held an annual songwriting competition in his memory.
Wow.
He also recorded one contemporary Christian album titled Lifeline in his neighbor, which was produced by Christensen, by his who, by the way, was his neighbor in Beverly Hills, California. It was a success on Christian radio with the hit song "Heading Home." His album "Rainbow Down the Road" was completed after his death and included a duet with Willie Nelson titled "Heart of the Country."
Wow.
And author Jan Reed devotes a chapter in his book to Stevenson titled "The Improbable Rise of Redneck Rock." He was dubbed the voice by this author. And also here, his song "My Maria" was co-written by Daniel Moore. It reached number 9 of the Billboard Hot 100s in 1973. It
Good
was
little
covered
song.
later by, yep, it was also covered by Brooks and Dunn
Yeah.
for a 3-week run on the country music charts. Um, his other singles, "The River of Love," "Down to the Station,"
Shambhala.
and the original, which was the original version of Daniel Moore's version, and a cover version of Three Dog Night. Well, I guess
Yeah, it was a big one.
that
Three Dog
reached,
Night.
yes, that reached number 3. And sadly, he's no longer with us.
No.
Texas great there.
Yeah, he probably would have been pretty decently big. I don't think he would have been huge, but I think he would have been decently big.
Yeah, and by the way, his full name was Louis Charles Stevenson.
But especially My Maria and Shambhala are worth a listen.
All right.
Okay.
Shout out to Roca in the chat there. We had a great talk with him. I should probably ask him, hey, Roca, you want to be a part of the program? Let me know in the chat. We'll be glad to add you in, dude. It's good to talk. add you to the show there.
Next group I got did some pretty good stuff, had some hit singles, and their lead singer left and went on solo.
Hmm.
Babies.
Oh wow, John Waite and the boys there.
Yeah,
The first time I heard from them, they had this song called "Isn't It Time." It had a violin arrangement and a female backup singers, and they also did the same thing for another song, which was a big hit in 1979. Every time I think of you.
yep. And he had a piece of the action was a pretty good song by him.
Yeah.
Head first.
At first, yeah, that the name of that album, though, which that song was included on. Every time I think of you, that is.
Yeah.
Midnight Rendezvous was another good one.
Oh yeah.
On the Edge, yes.
Yeah, that Babies had some pretty good hits, and John Waite had a couple of his own.
Yeah, yeah. We all know Missing You still played on soft rock stations to this day. Some of them, I think, because right now some of the variety stations often play with the current stuff that is out there, whether it's The Weekend or Ariana Grande.
Right. And they play them over and over and over. That's why I quit
Yep,
listening to the radio.
I know. I stopped listening to the radio when I first moved here in Texas. Back then, all I had was because at least back then the radio back in the early 2000s was somewhat decent there.
Yeah, but most of the stations nowadays have a playlist of about 20 songs, and that's all they'll play.
That's I know. That's why I hated Top 40 radio. I remember this one station back in Michigan called WHYT used to do that every day. And I worked at a clothing warehouse where one of the people would have that station on 24/7. And the thing is, how could someone who listens to that station not get sick of it?
Exactly.
How could it? It's like that tells me how much sheep they turn out to be.
Yeah. Yep. Next bunch I have is Brewer and Shipley,
Hmm. I
Tarkio
think I have.
Road.
Tokyo Road.
No, Tarkio Road.
Torquio. Oh, okay, there. I see.
And Smoke from a Distant Fire, which is another pretty good
All
song.
right. All right.
Then I got Brian Auger, who is Brian Auger, Brian Auger's Oblivion Express, Brian Auger and the Trinity.
Mm.
And they did some pretty. He had one of them with a girl called Julie Driscoll that had some phenomenal songs on it. He did another one called Freedom Jazz Dance when he was with Oblivion Express, I believe. And he's a keyboard guy, so it's heavy on keyboards.
I see there. Kind of like Dr. John
Yeah, yeah,
and Leon Russell.
yeah,
Because those, and of course, Billy Joel, of course, and Elton John, because all those performed on the piano massively.
and I'm glad you mentioned Leon Russell because there's another
He's
group.
next.
No, he wasn't. But there's another group that starts with A that he was a part of. Leon
Ah,
Russell and Mark Beno, Asylum
oh,
Choir,
ah.
and they had some pretty good stuff, especially on the second album. And I'm trying to remember the name of that album. I think it was
Ah,
Asylum Choir 2.
I see there.
But there was some pretty good stuff from those two guys.
All
You know
right.
Leon Russell, and I guess you also know who Mark Beno is.
I think so, yeah.
But next one on my list is Brooklyn Bridge.
Mm. I think I heard of that. I remember hearing that name back then.
They did a cover of a song I believe the Fifth Dimension did called "Worst That Could Happen," which is a pretty
Hmm.
good song.
All right.
Then you got Brownsville Station,
All right. Oh
"Smoking
yeah.
in the Boys' Room."
Oh yeah. Cub Coda and the boys. So Cub Coda no longer with us there. And I believe
Yeah,
they were a Michigan based band if I'm correct.
I think that's correct. Yeah,
Hmm. I see there. Let me look. Yeah, I got to look this up here because I've always been I was intrigued by Brownsville Station there a lot for a lot of while. They were like
Somebody else did a cover of Smoke in the Boys' Room, but I can't remember who it was.
Motley Crue
Yeah,
back in 1980. Yes, yep, it was popular for their. Well, let's see, there was a trio. Cub Koda was the singer guitarist. Um, Mike Lutz was also the bass. I guess he was the second guitarist. T.J. Cronley was the drummer, and Tony Driggins was the bass and singer. They later included another drummer and then another guitar player as well later on in the years. Their biggest song, of course, "Smoking in the Boys' Room."
they had
Of
another fairly,
course,
they had another fairly big hit. I think it's Leader of the Gang or something like that.
leader of the gang, maybe. It was um, it was released at the "Smoking in the Boys' Room." It was released on the '73 album. They released it titled "Yeah."
Yeah,
It reached the number three on the Billboard Hot 100s, and it reached the number 72 in the UK singles chart. That song has sold over 2 million copies and was awarded the gold disc status by the R RIAA in January 1974.
yeah. Did it tell you where they were from?
Yeah, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Okay, so they were from Michigan.
Yep, Ann Arbor, where Iggy and the Stooges came from, and I guess Bob Seger started just as well there. He's from Ann Arbor originally.
I knew he was from Detroit, but I didn't know that area.
They Well, I guess when it comes to the being which part of the city they're from, they always include because basically Ann Arbor, where it's Ypsilanti, it's kind of close to Detroit there. Because same thing with Roseville and Richmond, St. Clair Shores, Warren. That group Greta Von Fleet that people talk about ripping off Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
they're from Frankenmuth, Michigan. Believe it or not, I found out. And me and my brother-in-law visited that area one time on this Sunday afternoon. It was like a very German-based town. Everything's with German design on it, even the Mickey D's there.
Huh. I bet that was interesting.
It is. I would like to spend a whole day in that town one of these days. I was hoping to do that, but sadly, that never happened, unfortunately.
Uh, okay, next one I got.
And also, hold on a second. I'm
Sure.
looking at the popular culture there. Um, Brownsville Station in the TV series King of the Hill. You remember that show?
Yeah.
It's part of the subplot for the episode Hank Fixes Everything, reuniting. They're part of the subplot, and they reunited for Still Smoking in the Boys' Room tour.
Huh.
Eventually, the band reunited for real in 2012. That album would be titled, of course, "Still Smoking." It was the band is a favorite of the character Lucky, voiced by Tom Petty, who camps outside the ticket booth to purchase tickets for the prime viewing of Mike Lutz playing guitar. Huh, that's interesting there.
Yeah.
It's usually interesting how an old song from the 1970s can often find reemergence in this day and age when you think about it.
Yeah. Okay, next guy I got actually was large enough for a list, but I didn't want to do it because a lot of his songs are kind of cheesy,
Mm.
and that would be Brian Adams,
Oh yeah, interesting
which
there.
I like cuts like a knife.
Yeah, that's when I first heard of him. Actually, the "Fits You Good" was the one song I heard from him prior to that album.
Yeah, Summer of '69. I kind of like that one.
Yeah, but even though that gets overplayed so many times on the soft rock stuff and then karaoke as well.
Yeah, and a lot of his songs, like I said, are kind of cheesy.
Cheesy love ballads a lot of times.
Yeah, there's one he did in a movie, but I can't remember the name of it.
Anything I do for you from the Robin Hood,
Yeah,
Prince of Thieves soundtrack, 1991, with Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman.
yeah, and that's kind of when it really went south. But I did like the early stuff,
I mean,
and
you
I
remember
don't
Brand?
dislike it, but it's something I can do without.
No, you remember Brandy, the R&B singer there?
Yeah,
I remember at the jukebox at the restaurant I once worked at years later. She did her cover version for an album of hers, believe it or not. I don't remember if I were hearing the whole thing there, but it was I often would venture out to the dining room area to see what's up, how things are going there, blah blah blah. You know,
right.
or somebody needed something from me, or they needed something for someone, and I would hear her version of that song being played on the jukebox there. It was a CD jukebox, by the way, back then.
Yeah. Okay, the next one I got, they only did one album, but they later joined a very famous, they joined a group that became incredibly famous, and that's Buckingham Nicks.
Hmm. Ah, and this is prior to them joining Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, and I think this album's the one that got him in the group.
Yeah, I believe so. I guess either Mick Fleetwood or John McVie found the record and asked Lindsay to join the group, but he said, "I'll join, but if my girlfriend joins with me, it would be better." And he agreed on that. And that's when it became the Fleetwood Mac we all know, like the back of our hands.
Yeah, there's two songs in that album worth a listen. One of them is an early version of Crystal, which they
Mm.
later re-recorded with Fleetwood Mac. And then there's another one called Don't Let Me Down Again.
Ah,
That's a great little
interesting.
song.
Interesting there. I gotta definitely check it out sometime there. And this is when Lindsey Buckingham had that long hair of his, you know.
Yeah,
Because when he joined Fleetwood Mac, it would later be shortened to something like an afro. And then later on in 1979, he would cut his hair and get rid of that beard and be the Lindsey and Buckingham we know later on.
yeah, yeah,
And he's one of the first prime guitar players out there to use their fingers instead of a pick, next to Mark Knopfler with Dire Straits.
yeah. Next one I got's a group called Bullet.
Bullet, the band Bullet.
Right.
Interesting there.
They did a song called White Lies, Blue Eyes. That was a
Ah,
pretty big song.
all right.
Their only
When you
hit,
think,
by the way.
oh boy, let me look this up here. When I think of Bullet, I nowadays when we hear a bullet, the name Bullet, we think of Bullet Club, the wrestling faction there.
Right. But no, there's a group called Bullet.
It was a one-hit wonder rock band with
Right.
the song that you mentioned there.
White
It
Lies,
peaked at that
Blue
number.
Eyes. Good
Yep,
song.
peaked at number 28 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was in 1972, January of that year.
Yeah, like I said, it's a pretty good song, actually.
And here's the story behind that. He Singer Ernie Sorrentio, he was asked to provide the lead vocal for the song "White Lies, Blue Eyes," which was recorded with a studio instrumentalist some weeks before Flax, someone and Lambert singing harmony vocals. And the two that I just met, I guess, blah blah blah. It doesn't say Larry Lambert and Bobby Flax. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Those two would sing harmony vocals. The producer satisfied the result, asked Sorrentino to record "Changes of Mind" for the B-side, a song that he and Mike Cara had written for their current band. The record was released on Big Tree Records, so big name in 1970s there, and
Yep.
record labels there. It had England and John Ford Coley on their roster as well as Brownsville Station. And they decided to record under the name Bullet. As the song ran up the charts, the guitars was were recruited along with a keyboard and trumpet player. Other members of the New York band Riverside Drive was also brought in to fill out a touring band, and blah 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 blah. There we go. The group toured for 2 years, recorded three more singles, and I guess later on they broke up. I guess.
Yeah, which if they could have done something not similar to, but as good
Now
as.
two of the members are also musically active in South Florida, and one of the other members performs in Edison, New Jersey, along with Southside Johnny, another New Jersey music legend there.
They could have actually been pretty decent. But there's a
Hmm.
lot of the one-hit wonders that are
And you know
kind of
what?
like that.
Here's something else. There was another band out of the UK called Bullet, but they were often people would confuse them with the Bullet that you're mentioning. They would later had to change their name to Hard Stuff
Huh.
after there was after after the Bullet version of White Lies and Blue Eyes was released in 1971.
Wow. Next one I got the guy that you've probably heard of,
Yes.
Burton Cummings.
Oh man, the lead singer of the Guess Who.
Yeah, he had a fairly big hit with a song called Stand Tall.
Mm.
I think he had one other, but I'm not real sure.
I think he had also had a movie role in the I guess it was.
Probably.
I'm looking it up because I remember there was this movie on cable television that I was in that I watched briefly. I guess in him trying to compose something on the piano there. It's always he's flipping out and he's snorting cocaine there.
Mm.
Right. I'm looking at the let's see here, Burton Cummings movie. It was in 1982 called Melanie. I guess, well, not really. Let's see here. A rock star and a lawyer help someone from Arkansas, Cyrus O'Connor, seek custody of her son in California. It came out in 1982, and the music was by Burton Cummings and Paul Zaza. And it won the Canadian Screen Award for Best Screenplay, and a couple others there as well.
Wow.
Hmm.
Multi-talented guy.
Yeah, interesting there. And Cyrus O'Connor there. I remember hearing that name. She did this movie that I kind of admired her with. I guess it was Jeremy something. I forgot the name of the movie. I think the movie was called Jeremy, but I think it was her and Robbie Benson.
Oh,
Hmm. Okay, there. Go ahead, there. I just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there.
okay, next group I got, I think could have been big because they were like Chicago,
Hmm.
and they released, I think, two albums, and then their leader died.
Wow.
Name of the group is Chase,
Hmm.
and
Interesting.
their big song was something called Get It On,
Um.
which was big enough that when T Rex released their song that was also titled Get It On, they changed it to Bang a Gong and put Get It On
Get it on.
in parentheses
Yeah, yeah, I see. Yeah,
because they
I kind
wanted to
of figured
avoid
that.
confusion.
I know that's the one. That's the same thing with "It Never Rains in Southern California." I believe they probably found out that there was a song of the same title, and Tony decided to put the last three words in parentheses, as I mentioned.
Yeah. If you want to look it up, his name is Bill Chase.
Bill Chase. Mm-hmm. Let me look it up right
Because
now
I don't
here.
remember how he
Bill.
died, but I knew he died after about like two albums or something like that.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm. He died. He died in 1974. He was American trumpeter and leader of the band Chase. And let's see here, blah blah blah. It's coming up right now. And it was a jazz rock band. Chase was.
They were similar to
And
Chicago, but better, or not better, but different.
okay, and unfortunately, he perished on a plane crash on August 9th, 1974.
Yeah,
And apparently, what it was that I don't know, it doesn't give the details on what caused the plane to crash, but he was on the route to the Jackson County Fair. He died in the crash, along with it was in Jackson, Minnesota, at the age of 39.
wow.
Along with he was killed along with the pilot and co-pilot, as well as a keyboard player named Wally Young and guitarist John Emma and drummer Walter Clark.
Which pretty much decimated the group.
Yeah, sadly, very sad. I
Yeah,
think
because
it's safe to say. I think it's safe to say that if you're a musician, the best thing to get around to other places would be by tour bus only.
beginning to sound like it.
Yeah, it does because along with this guy, Jim Croce, John Denver,
Otis Redding,
also Fritz Redding, yeah, members of Leonard Skinnerd,
and you
the
can
Native Music. Oh yeah, the big three, the Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, the Big Bopper.
yeah, and you can even go as far back as Glenn Miller.
Oh wow, I never knew he died from a plane wreck.
Yeah,
Wow, that's something there. Oh yeah, didn't Patsy Cline as well died in a plane crash as well?
yeah, that's actually correct.
Oh my gosh. Fellow musicians out there, stick to the tour bus. Avoid planes at all costs.
And
The
Waylon
bad luck
Jennings
to
was
you.
in a plane crash but survived.
Wow. Interesting. Wow, man.
Next one I got's a kind of a jump, but if you get a chance to hear Get It On, you need to find it. It's really
All
good.
right, definitely. Okay, definitely worth checking out there.
Next one I got's Coverdale Page. They had
Mm.
one album, I believe.
Yes, and we know the guys behind this group. David Coverdale from Whitesnake and Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin came out on Geffen Records in 1993, and it was a pretty good. We had a good couple good songs on the radio there that were played a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I can think of the names.
Mm. Let's see. I
One
think
of
it
them
was
had to do with
Pride.
Pride and Joy, and then Shake and something. With the
Okay, there.
pretty big ones.
Okay, there. I'm looking at it. Coverdale Page and blah blah blah. What am I doing here? And blah. What am I talking about? Let's see. Coverdale Page. It came out. Came out basically was the only studio album featuring the two there,
Yeah,
and it came out. It was released on, as it says here, Geffen Records in North America, EMI internationally. It was recorded in Vancouver, in Miami, and in Reno, Nevada, and at Abbey Road Studios in London. It was produced by Page Coverdale and Mike Frazier, who was a well-noted Canadian producer.
yeah, and it
The
did have
merging,
Pride, Joy, and Shake My Tree.
yes, I remember that's those two songs I remember hearing. Interesting. And the cover of the album was kind of like two roads joining into one road, expressing the unification of joining together.
Yeah,
And it was a pretty good album. I think it reached number 4 in the UK and number 5 on the US charts here. And while the first single, Pride and Joy, barely made a dent on the pop charts, it reached number 1 on the album Rock Tracks chart for 6 weeks. It was
yeah,
certified gold for the sales of the album, CD, and cassette in excess to 500,000 copies, and eventually went platinum. It also received the official Japanese Sony Music in-house award for sales of in excess of 150,000 copies in Japan alone, as well as the EMI House Sales Award for excess of 60,000 copies in the UK. Wow, man. And it was their only album.
yeah, Yeah, that was it.
It's kind of funny. It was kind of funny is that both Page was and Coverdale, as you know, was signed to Geffen Records, which issued the album. Page had just signed with them to put. You remember that album Outrider from 1988,
Yeah,
and of course, White Snake was assigned to the same label when it with Slide It In, the self-titled album Slip of the Tongue, and of course the reissued of their earlier catalog. That when the White Snake Bacon made it big, they reissued all those earlier albums that Coverdale did with that group.
yeah. And next one I
Yeah.
got is a little bit obscure. They're
Hmm.
also a one-hit wonder. A group
Yeah.
by the name of Krabby Appleton.
I don't think I've heard of them. Krabby. For a minute, I thought it was something that McDonald's would serve at one of their
Yeah,
places at first.
but they did a song called, I believe it was Go Back. And like I said, it's a one-hit wonder, and it wasn't that big.
Ah,
Next one I got is Crawler.
ah,
They did a song called Stone Cold Sober, but if you look them
ah,
up, one of their members joined another group and became famous with that group. And I
ah.
cannot remember his name.
What's his name again?
I don't remember his name, but the name of the
Oh,
group
crap.
is Crawler.
Crawler. Crawler. Let me look that up here. I'm looking. I should just keep all my Crawler rock band. I should keep all these tabs on Wikipedia up there because holy cow, all these new groups you're mentioning here I haven't even heard of, but I'm looking them up there to find out more about them. It was formed in the late 1970s as an offshoot of Backstreet Crawler,
Right.
following the death of the guitarist Paul Kosnoff.
Yeah, that was actually, I think that was the guy I was thinking of.
Yes, he used to play with guitar with the band Free with Paul Rogers and drummer Simon Kirke and Andy Frazier
Right.
on bass. You remember that song "All Right Now," the title cut for the album "Fire and Water," and of course "Wishing Well" a couple years earlier. Kossoff died from a heroin overdose.
Mm.
They released it. Prior to that, they released it Backstreet Crawler. I guess it was one or two albums, but the band decided to carry on just under the name Crawler.
And one of their big songs, and I don't remember whether it was Backstreet or just Crawler, was something called
Mm.
Stone Cold Sober. And
Ah,
given the title, I would think Crawler did it.
okay. I'm thinking so here. Let me look it up here. Look that up. Dang gummit. Stone Cold Sober here. Blah 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 blah. Here we go. Stone Cold So I'm gonna have to type it in. Dang gummit. Blah blah blah. Let's see. Stone Cold. For a minute, I thought you said it was Stone Cold Crazy at first, like the Queen song.
No,
Here we go. There. Yeah, there. Thank goodness. Let's see here. And it's in the song. Got to I guess it did well here in the States on radio airplay.
right.
And it was in, and of course, the following. Let me look here, and just went back to the Wikipedia of the song of the band Crawler. There, unfortunately, I tried to look up behind the song, so screw that. Unfortunately,
And I'm guessing it had something to do with what happened with Paul Kossoff.
I think so. Yeah, no doubt about that. Because when you lose a bandmate or a friend from a drug overdose, that's going to inspire you to tell everybody to stay off drugs, no matter what.
Kind of like Neil Young and the Needle and the Damage Done.
Yep, exactly. Or what happened? Or Leonard Skinner's "That Smell,"
Right.
which was, by the way, as we mentioned, was a warning to Gary Rossington from Ronnie Van Sant. Hey, you better quit that shit while you're still ahead of time, or you'll be 6 feet under. Because because Rossington was involved in a DUI accident prior to that song being recorded.
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, next one I got. They did a song. They did a cover of a song by Black Sabbath. Name of the
Mm.
group is Crow.
Oh my gosh, Evil Woman.
Yeah,
Yeah, that song. I know it's an interesting story behind that song. Evil Woman, the Sabbath cover of that track was first. It was originally on their UK digital press album, the one with the Satanic Cross gatefold in there.
yeah,
Yes, and it was but in the States, Evil Woman was replaced with Wicked World.
yeah. The
And I'm
reissue
not
has
I'm not
Evil Woman, but the original
as
album did
well
not.
as exactly. The reissue has Evil Woman and Wicked World on it as well.
Yeah,
And Castle Communications released all the Sabbath releases on CD, and they recorded. And for this first album, they included both those tracks on there on that particular reissue there, which
right.
is interesting. And I've heard the Crow version of Evil Woman. It's pretty interesting there.
Yeah,
But then again, well, here's something else I found out. Black Sabbath, the song Warning from the first Sabbath album, that's actually a cover tune. A group called Aisley Dunbar's Retribution originally recorded that track.
wow.
And eventually I found that. I was like, wow, interesting, man. Interesting.
Sometimes you find out a song's a cover and you say, that was a cover?
Yeah, exactly. We didn't even know about it because it was never mentioned in the liner notes of the Sabbath album either. Either way.
Right.
Hmm. Huh. You learn something new every day, folks, believe it or not.
Yeah. Now, the group I got following Crow was a super group of sorts.
Mm.
Damn Yankees.
Oh my goodness, we know those guys. Well, I don't know much about the drummer. I guess he was recruited by one of their agents, but it had Ted Nugent on lead guitar, Jack Blades from Night Ranger on bass and vocals, and Tommy Shaw from Styx on the second guitar and backup vocals there.
Yeah.
And they released it two records. The song High Enough was massively big there.
Yeah, and I believe it was easily their biggest.
Biggest album yet. And it was also and it was the biggest spark for Ted Nugent about. It was a big spark for him, because prior to that project being put together, Ted Nugent wasn't really selling that well. He was putting out all these albums like "If We Can't Lick 'Em," which
Yeah.
was song "The Story of Love," which was a minor hit on the rock radio circuit. And about a couple years before that, he had "Little Miss Dangerous" and "My Little Red Book," a cover. That's a cover tune there.
Yeah.
And at the time, people were kind of getting pissed off at Ted Nugent because, he was mentioning all this cheesy 70s stuff like, oh, I can't get enough more of all this pussy out there. And sooner or later, people get tired of that. I mean, this was a different decade. This was during the 1980s there, you know?
Yeah, it's that one trick pony thing.
Yeah. It gets tiresome after a while. It would still be like Kiss continuing with the makeup during the 1980s. It would have been they would have been back at the clubs if they were to continue that gimmick. When you look at it,
Next one I got, I'm pretty sure you've heard of them.
hmm yes.
Detroit.
Oh my, oh my goodness, the band Detroit, Mitch Ryder and the boys there.
Right.
Their version of rock and roll, the Lou Reed's song,
Yeah.
big on their Detroit radio. Big on Detroit radio, man. It was very big, massive, powerful, you name it.
Yeah. They did some good stuff. Long
It
Neck
did, yeah.
Goose. Was that one of them?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
But they did some good, typical Mitch Ryder kind of stuff. But again, he wasn't one trick pony. It was kind of different each time.
It was, absolutely, because, you know, give it up. I don't give it up to Mitch Ryder. He's still going strong. He still does shows here and there. You know, even remember back in 1983, He had an album called "Never Kick a Sleeping Dog" with his cover version of Prince's "When You Were Mine."
Yeah.
And the guy who produced that album was one of his Mitch Ryder's biggest fans, John Cougar Mellencamp.
Wow.
He got Mitch Ryder signed to the label he was on, Riva Records.
Hmm. Next one I got to One Hit Wonder, and that list of songs. A couple of those list of songs I sent you. It's one of them. Diesel,
The band
Sausalito.
Diesel.
Yeah, Sausalito
Mm.
Summer Night.
Oh, hmm.
It's in one of those emails I sent you.
I see. I remember seeing that. Yes, I did. Yeah. You got to send some of these emails to Keith Barber on through his Skype if you ever get a chance there, because he needs to learn about all this there. He needs to sit and listen to all this stuff that you're providing here
Yeah.
and give
Next,
give commentary about the songs there, other than just look at the camera, look dumb on there.
okay. Next one I got is another guy you may have heard of,
Hmm.
part of a famous group, Don
Yes.
Henley.
Oh yeah. Massively big solo career he had in the 80s and 90s there.
I could almost do a list of him.
Oh yeah, definitely. Dirty Laundry is one of them, which was basically about the Guck we see on TV. Apparently, the story was when the Eagles broke up, he had a lot of time to watch television stuff, and he watched, I guess, all the stuff that he was watching. Kind of was inspiration for that song.
Yeah, I'll do a list. Sunset
Yeah,
Grill will definitely be on it.
yeah, definitely. I know that was a good song there, and
Okay.
of
Go ahead.
course, of course, that one song, "The Boys of Summer." I guess some punk band from the '90s did their cover version of it, but it's instead of "I saw a dead head" sticker on the Cadillac, he replaced it with a Black Flag sticker on the Cadillac, referring to Black Flag, the LA punk band.
And next one I got. Guy started out, he was in a group called the Jaggers, which had a song
Donnie
called,
Iris.
yeah,
Donnie Iris, yes. When you send me the video for that song, Leah, oh Leah,
yeah,
and I was just like, wow, massively big on that run. This was in 1981 when that song first came out. It was like a
right.
massive hit. He
Yeah,
will have another massive hit a year later with "Love Is Like a Rock."
yeah, I'm willing to bet that Joe Cronin knows that song.
I think so. Yeah, Leah. Oh yeah, because he married. Of course, we know the name of his wife there.
Yeah, I'd be amazed if he had never heard that song.
Mm, that'll be interesting. But well, Cronin is the '90s. I guess was a '90s kid around his, I believe. So he's most likely he's a '90s kid. So if we ever play that song, or if he ever comes on this show, we'll definitely play it for him, and we'll tell him about it just as well.
Yeah, but he's heard of the song that Roy Orbison did called Leah. And if
Yeah.
he's heard that one from the 60s and 50s,
Mm,
he's bound to have heard the other one. Okay,
maybe, maybe. Who knows?
I got ABBA on the list, but I decided, you know what, I can do a list of them. So I'll do a list of them.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
because
it's
they
pop, but hey, it's all music.
cult, that definitely has a massive cult following when you look at it there.
And they did have some good songs.
Yeah.
But the last one I think I will cover today, since we're at the hour mark,
Mm-hmm.
is Alvin Lee and Mylon Lefebvre.
Mm.
Lefebvre.
Ah.
Alvin Lee, you know who he is.
Yes, the guy and singer guitarist from 10 Years After.
And Mylon Lefebvre was a gospel singer, but they actually did an
Yeah.
album together. And I know one they did a cover of "So Sad," the George Harrison song,
Yeah.
and they also did one called "Fallen Angel." That, oh wow, that is a great song.
Wow.
If I can find it, I'm going to send it to you because I think
All right.
you'll love it.
Interesting there.
But I guess we'll shut it off there. And
Mm-hmm.
next week I'll have at least 3 lists, hopefully.
All right.
And I got some more people.
All right. And I just got a word from a Minnesota Vikings fan. I guess last night they did Real Suck TV. I guess he did it on his own. I wasn't aware of it because I was out bike riding and shit. So I guess there'll be no Real Suck TV. I guess unfortunately there.
Oh well.
But oh well, there'll be they'll probably next time because I was gonna hoping to do the same thing that we did last week. Which was a couple of times, which was merged from this show onto the next show on one stream there.
Yeah. But at any rate, I guess we could say we're done until Monday.
Yeah, it's true.
And again, we'll get into. I have a couple lists, obviously, of people that I just decided, hey, I'll do a list. And then we'll also get some more people. Hopefully, not that many that are obscure.
Yeah.
But I guess that'll do it.
All right there. I guess. Yeah. I guess still there. Definitely. All right. So thank you to all the people watching the show. I'm sorry I was trying to get YR and Keith on the program here, but it was just